Hello, this is video training. What we're going to be covering in this section, Level 1, Chapter 1, is adding and changing whole good inventory. Okay, let's begin. Unit sales. This is the main menu of our unit sales program. Prior to this, you should have gone in and created your makefile right here. And we discussed that in the makefile section. Created your product file, as we discussed in the product file section. Now we're going to see how that's used. Let's go into unit maintenance. Okay, this is our main screen for adding whole goods inventory. Now what I'm going to start off is going over the lookup, because that's really important, understanding how you can look things up in your system. So let's hit lookup. This is our standard screen. Obviously we have next, add, change, backwards, lookup, delete, user defined, print a label, and there's various other options that we're going to be talking about a little bit further. Let's start off with lookup. This is a standard lookup that you'll see throughout our system. Each module is a little bit different, but they have similar options. For example, they'll always have a keyword option. Keyword option is the most powerful. When I say most powerful, it searches everything in that particular database. If we're looking at our unit database and I type in red, it doesn't matter where that is. It's going to look at RED. If I hit keyword, it's going to select anything that has the word red in it. Now, you may not see that word listed on the screen, but it's somewhere embedded in that record. If you list it by make or model, for example, if I want to see everything with a particular make and a model, I may type in Yamaha, then hit make. It's going to say, okay, my make is Yamaha. Are there any particular models you want? If I just hit the enter key, it's just going to have all my Yamaha. Now, the ones that are dark blue are ones that I have sold. And the reason I have this selected, which says include sold units. If I uncheck that and say, okay, let's list all Yamahas again, obviously I don't see any dark blue. I'm only looking at things that I have in inventory, things that are available to be sold. So if you want to see sold units, there's a check mark, include sold units, and you'll get something different. Now I'm getting sold units. These units are sold. You'll see that because they'll say sold. They'll be highlighted. Okay. We also can list it by stock number. If you have something in this field, it'll start at that stock number. If you have the field blank, it'll just start with your first stock number, which is the lowest one, and go on. If you go retail price, there again, if I leave it blank, it's going to start at my lowest retail price. If I just want to see anything that's over $1,000, type in 1,000 there. I can do that by hitting F2, which will bring me here, or using the mouse, and then select retail. And it's the closest thing to $1,000 and above. Floor plan. This is the floor plan companies. If I know the floor plan company I'm looking for, I could type it in. Or if I leave it blank, it's going to list all floor plan companies, whether I own it, and it's going to sort it in a alphabetical sort. Product. This is that product file which we created. When you hit product, it's going to list all my products. This is that new one. Those are the ones that we created. If I just want to see boats, I'd click boats. Here's all my boats. If I just want to see motorcycles, there again, I'd click motorcycles. Now, what you see on this screen, obviously you've got a stock number. You've got a make, a model, a year. You've got a description that you typed in. You've got your price. You've got some options that you put on here. This is whether you've quoted on any of the deals. This particular, I quoted it to somebody, but I don't have any deposits. This is if you had any deposits. This is whether you own it or whether it's floor plan. This is the location of where it is, and this is how long you've had it. Obviously, we've had this one for 21 days. This one here we've had for 4 years, 353 days. Okay, let's add a new unit. So I'll start off with a boat. So let's just look at a boat, and I'm going to cheat. Okay, there are two ways of adding new units, and there's also an option in the system. For example, suppose I've got 3 or 4 boats, and I just put this boat in maybe last week. and I just got another one. But you know what? It's a very similar boat. It's the exact same thing. I bought it from the same company. I want to save myself some typing. Some people like to do it this way. They actually like to save themselves some typing. They don't want to clear the screen. So if I looked that boat up, it says, okay, here's the boat I just looked up. It's boat 106, and it says that I'm changing it. I don't want to change it. I want to add a brand new one. So what I'm going to do is I can hit Shift Tab, or I can just use the mouse. If I type in a new stock number, or if I blank that field out, and there again, yellow is always where you're at. Now, I'm not really talking about some of the basic stuff because the assumption is that you've seen a prior training before this, so you know what the colors are and so forth. If I hit the Enter key now, it's going to say, okay, I'm adding a new. But notice something. It didn't clear the screen. It says, okay, I blanked out the stock number, or I could have put in a new stock number. If the new stock number I put in was out there, it would display that unit. If the stock number wasn't out there, it would say the same thing, adding new. Now it highlights my next field and says, okay, what do you want to do here? If I type something in right now, it's going to clear that field like there was nothing there, as we've gone over in prior training. If I just, like for example, maybe the stock number is exactly the same except for the last three. I can use the mouse, or I'm going to use the right arrow key, go here, and I'm just going to type in my new VIN number. Now, what's the year? It's a 2008. I don't have to type anything. I'm just going to hit the Enter key. What is it? Well, there again, this is that make file which we created. If it's not that, you can type in like Y, and I'm going to get a Yamaha. H, I get a Honda. Whatever manufacturer I want. Or if I click here, this is that make file that we created. If it's not on this list, you need to go to your make file and create it, or use the other category. Let's just say 4 ones. What's the model? There again, if I want to change it, I can change it. If it happens to be the same thing, I can just hit the Enter key. That's the same thing. Yes, it's a boat. This is that product file. I can click here, and these are all my products. If I want to add new products or separate products, maybe I don't want one product for boat. Maybe I want to separate it by sailboat, sports fishing boat, power boat, motor yacht. I can do that also. In this case, I have one category called boat. Where are you going to put it? Obviously, if it's new or used. Colors, production date, invoice date. Invoice date is very important. There are certain fields that are going to get edited, and it will not let you add that. For example, if I don't key in an invoice date, or I key in an invalid date, let's make an error intentionally and see what happens. This which makes it easy is all this information is the same right now. The invoice number, maybe that's going to be different, but all the stuff is the same. Then I don't have to key in anything else. I can just go right to this F4 key. But let's just go over some of these other fields here. Obviously retail price, taxable. That's a default that's in the system. If most of your products that you're adding are taxable, you want the default to be taxable, so it'll automatically check taxable. Who you got it from? These are other options that you can key in. Factory warranties, key in whatever you want, what the weight is. This is something that's critical. Basically, when the system comes, you're going to have 3. You're going to have own, trade, brokerage, and there'll be a couple of sample floor plans. What you can do is just click owned, trade, or broker. Broker means that you don't own it, you're selling it for somebody else. Trade obviously you got it on trade. Owned means, hey, I own it. Now, if you don't have your floor plan set up, which typically you don't, and what we recommend doing is don't worry about your floor plan stuff. That's not the important thing right now. What's important is let's get your inventory in the system. That's the thing. Let's key on the things that are important. Get your inventory in, get it all in, learn how to sell it. Let's concentrate on the things that are very critical. Then we'll go back and we'll do the floor plan later. The floor plan part of this isn't quite as important. So, we're going to be going over, and that's going to be in level 2, setting up your floor plans. But first of all, it's a lot easier just to put all your units in, get all that set up. Then we'll go add the floor plans. And then once we add the floor plans, it'll retroactively calculate all your floor plan costs for your units. So let's just check mark owned for now. Okay. I've keyed in all the information. One of the things we'll be going over is how to attach a picture of parts. I have one attached already. This happens to be the same unit, so we don't need to change the picture. So I'm going to hit F4 for add. There's that data. It's saying, hey, I'm not going to let you add this unit. You cannot add this unit unless you give me a valid date. So when I select OK, it now goes over here, and let's just put in a valid date. Now I'm going to hit F4 again. OK to add, yep. Now notice it says user-defined boat. What that means is that in that product file, I told it whenever I'm adding a boat, there's more information than what I want to see on the screen. This screen that we're looking at right now is your standard screen. No matter what type of product you're putting in, you'll always see this screen. But what you need to do is look at the screen and say, look, there are other things I need to keep track of. For my boats, I have a lot of other stuff I want to know. And you can do that. You can tell the system what you want to keep track of. It could be different for each customer. It also could be different for each product. So when you go into the system and say it's a boat, it'll come up with a totally different screen than if it's a motorcycle, if it's an RV, if it's a jet ski. Each screen can be totally different. It's a great feature because what that means is your system is adaptable. Maybe right now all you sell is motorcycles, all you sell is boats. But you know what? Maybe a year from now you want to get in and say, I'm going to sell boats, I'm going to sell motorcycles. We have some customers, they sell everything. They sell boats, they sell motorcycles, they sell RVs. And the system works beautiful for them because the minute they tell it the type of product, a totally different screen will pop up. So we're going to say here, OK to add. Because we left the stock number blank, it's basically saying, OK, do you want me to generate the stock number for you? Most people let the computer generate the stock numbers. It's probably the best way to do it. If you prefer not to, obviously this is our standard question. If I hit the enter key, that's the default right there. Yes, I assume that's what you want because most people want the computer to do it. If you don't want to do it, you'd rather key in your own, I can type in N with my finger or I can use the mouse. I'm going to say yes. This is my user-defined template. Now there again, right, what we're concentrating now is putting your inventory in, getting that stuff. There are lots of really neat features that you can think about doing later on. In the next section, we're going to be going over how to set up this user-defined template. Some people don't use this at all. Some people do. This will be going over in the next section. Now, what we're here now is now we've added this into our system. Are there any accessories or any other things that we want to create here? Now, we have a lookup button, we have a free format button, and obviously escape button when we're done. Free format, that's pretty much what you're going to be doing. This is to list any options that you may want to show on this particular. It's going to print on the invoice. It's also going to print if you print a quote sheet. It's also going to print if you print a sticker. And it's also going to list, so you may want to list all the options. These options might be standard options that came with the product that the price is included. And you just want to make somebody know that, hey, this is what you get for that price. Or there could be extras. Now, if it's something that's included, you would basically put in a description of what you want to show. I'm just going to put option 1 to keep it simple. Obviously, you would put something a little bit more meaningful, like if it was a boat, maybe a swim platform, maybe it comes with an arch, maybe it comes with the downriggers. And when I hit the enter key, maybe it's included. If it was included in the price, I would leave these things blank and I just hit F4. I just want these things to list so the customer sees, hey, there's what you get for that amount of money. Or if it is an extra option, hey, look, we just put full canvas on this, and that full canvas cost me $1,000, and I'm going to charge the customer $2,000 for that option that we just added. And you know what? I want to charge tax on it, and I'm going to hit F4. So I can put options on that I may be charging for. Where I wouldn't put a cost, and options that I did. So I've added one option where we're actually charging. Now I made a mistake. I meant to type in 1,000. I typed in 100. Not a problem. If you want to go in and change anything that you put on here, if you see that you made a mistake, I can change it now. I can change it later. If I double click on that, it's going to bring it up, and I made a mistake here. I wanted to type in 1,000. And so I'm going to hit change. Now it's 1,000. Cost me 1,000. I'm charging 2,000. If you want to delete something, you can click on here. You can change it. You can delete it. whatever you want to do. Or you can add new. So this is very flexible, just keying in whatever you want to key in, and you're listing all the options, whether they be extra charges or whether they be just standard options that came with and included in the price. Now, there's also an accessory file, and let's look at that. Accessory file is something that you can manually key in, and you may want to do that, and we're going to be talking about that on level 2. It's also something that some manufacturers supply us with, and that's something you may want to check on. Now, we have some manufacturers that actually supply us what we call an accessory file, so they list all the accessories, and you can pick and choose from that file, and it'll put it right on the units. Certain models might have a standard package, a super duper package, and so on. What you may want to do is give us a call, see if we have it. The other option is that we have usually ones that manufacturers have. So sometimes just call up your manufacturer, ask them, do you have an accessory file that you can give me in any type of computer media, whether it be Excel, an ASCII format, and we can import that into your system for you. So those are various options you have. And you can manually create them. And there again, that will be covered in actually in level 2, chapter 2. But if you do have an accessory file, there again, just to show you what you're going to be able to be doing, right now you're going to be using the free format, and that's what we recommend. Just start off simple, get things going first, and then you will get you into the more sophisticated stuff. But for example, this being a boat, maybe I'm going to say, look at it, it comes with a Coast Guard package. I'm going to click on that and put that on that boat. Maybe I want to put, a radar on it. Maybe I'm going to put a ski kit on it, and I'm going to hit the escape key. Now I just added those options. Here's my Coast Guard package. We're charging the customer $120, and here's what it includes. The radar, we're sticking that on there. It's an additional $875. We're giving them an O'Brien ski kit package, $269, but this is what it includes. So we've added some accessories to this unit. And there again, you can delete things. Want to get rid of that? Delete it. When you feel, okay, this is what I want, I'm going to hit escape. Now this screen is a screen you probably aren't going to see. We're just showing you where you're probably going. This is because I have the accounts payable module and it's all set up, and I have the general ledger module and it's all set up. It's basically saying, okay, I'm going to put this in your payables, and I'm also going to create your general ledger entries. If you're a new customer just starting off, which you probably are, you probably don't have your payables set up, and you probably don't have your general ledger set up. Don't worry about it. Let's concentrate on what's important. Usually when people get the system up and running, they concentrate on one module at a time. They'll usually start off with POTS and get that operational. Usually POTS, service, and customer tracking are the first things that they get running. They get that running, they get that implemented, they get that going. That's a real big time saver. Then they usually move on to actually the unit system is usually the next thing that they try to get operational. Then after the unit system is running, then they go in and they start putting their payables and their general ledger in. And that's usually the logical way of doing it. So that I wouldn't worry about this right now. There again, once you get all your units in, you'll be able to run reports to get the numbers and be able to have all this information, but you don't really need to have your payables and your general ledger up and running just to put your units in. So let's hit this here. I'm just going to go by here. These are my entries that are being made to general ledger. That unit is now in my system, and it's been there for 3 days. Now, if I made a mistake and I want to change something, obviously I can delete the unit right out by hitting the delete key. I can, if I want to change something, I have to hit the enter key, and I have to go to the field that I want to change. Maybe I want to change my color. And I have to hit the change button. Change. Okay to change. If I say no, that change will not go into effect. If I say yes, now that change is there. Whenever you change something in the record, it'll come up and say, do you want to change any of your options that you've added? If you say no, it goes back to here. If I say yes, it'll bring me back to here where I can change anything I want. Maybe I want to take something off, maybe I want to change the price, whatever modification I want to make. So, Obviously, you've got your next, which will go right to my next one. I've got my backwards, and I've got my lookup. And if we want to go in and look at a user-defined template, we can look at that. Let's go over some of these other options here. I'm going to hit Options. And we're going to skip the first two here. You know, what we're going to go right to this right here. And these are covered in later chapters. Basically, this is just for putting your inventory in. What I want to do here is add options and print setup. Obviously, what this does is it allows me just to go in, same thing, add any additional options, change anything I want to change. And it also allows me to print it out. And there again, this is our standard printout screen. It gives you the option. We've gone over this in prior lessons. F1 obviously will display it on the screen. F2 will print it to your local printer. F3 will bring up a Windows box that will show you every printer that's on your network. And this will put it in a PDF file. Obviously, once it's in a PDF file, you can save it, email it to somebody, do whatever you want to do with it. And we've gone over all that stuff prior to this. Sold information. If this unit was sold, which it is not, we can go in and change some of that sold information. You have the ability of adding pots to a unit. Maybe this was a used unit and we want to see all the stuff that we had to add to it. If you click here, it would list it. Now this is not going to have anything, obviously, because we didn't, we just put it in inventory. Change priority code. What a priority code is that when we're in the sales section, and we're going to be covering that on level 2, you can actually set what we call a priority code. A priority code might be, hey, look, if somebody's looking for something, I want to sell this one first. It's obviously used if you're floor planning and you've got something that's costing you a lot of money, and somebody comes in and you've got 2 boats or 2 motorcycles in stock. One has been there for 2 years. You probably want to sell that one rather than the one that just came in. So you can actually set a priority code to say, look, this here is a priority 9, which means it's very high. I want to get rid of this guy. And there again, what that does, it tells the person when they're selling it that, if you're going to sell something, these are the ones I'd prefer you to sell. Print additional cost. There again, what this will do, it just prints out a detail of everything that you have and all the different costs associated with it. If there was service stuff, it'll also print that. Over here, we've got the system keeps track of everything. Now, when we put that unit into the system, as we just did, it also put it into the service section. So that right now, if I went in and called my service department and said, hey, look, I just got this unit in, you need to go work on it, you need to create a work order, basically, the cost of that work order is going to go right over here. So every time you touch that unit, it was a motorcycle, and you said, okay, go set it up, and it took somebody 4 hours to set that thing up. You can have the cost transferred here, so you'll know exactly, hey, here's what I paid for the motorcycle. This is never going to change. What you paid is what you paid. The freight is what it is. What it is what it is. That's what it cost you. But you know what? This is going to change on a regular basis. Every time we work on this and have to do something to it, that cost is going to get plugged in over here. My floor plan cost is going to get put in on a daily basis. So I will always have an up-to-the-date, this is what this thing really cost me. It was a lot more than just $14,277. It is that plus what it cost me for my handling, what it cost me for my floor plan. Now, there's different options on how you want this cost to come over. There again, on the RO cost, you can have it, and the default is just cost. So that whatever the real cost is, that's how it's coming over. That's the way most dealers want it. Although there are options where you can change it, and you can say, I want my things that I do in my service program to my major units, I want it to go over it cost plus whatever. I want it to be list. I want to have it go over here just like I was billing a customer. Or I want to dictate what it is because it's different for every single unit. So there again, there's various different options. But the bottom line is you do have the option of keeping track of your real cost. What you paid for it, what your floor plan cost is, and what it cost you every time you touched it and worked on it. Okay. Stock number. You have the ability of changing the stock number anytime you want. You have the ability to attach pictures and videos. You have the ability to package it. You have the ability to list current status. This is something that's pretty nice, where you can see exactly what's going on with this unit. For example, this is a brand new unit I just put in, so there's not much here. It's basically just telling me here's all my accessories. But I don't have any work orders on this here, which means by me looking at this, I know that it just came in, it wasn't even set up. If it was set up or ready for a customer to look at it, there'd be an RO here. It could be open. Open means it's not done yet. Like if it was a motorcycle, it means, hey, this thing is still sitting in the crate. I know it's sitting in the crate because if it was out of the crate, there'd be a thing here say closed RO, and it would probably say setup. So I would know that, okay, the thing's all done. The fact that I'm looking at this means that it came in and we've done nothing with it. And that's that service history. If this was a used product, you'd be able to see, number one, okay, service is working on it. If it's open, it means they're still working on it. If it's closed, it means it's done. So, you'll see everything that's been done. Okay. Package, we're going to go over that in a few minutes. Print quote sticker. There again, you can do that for this one particular unit that I just put in. Or there's also in the report section, you can do it for all your units. And how many do I want printed? I'm just going to do one. This is a message. Now, the last message I put in is right here. You can cut and paste. You can type in whatever you want to do here. This is one that I typed in earlier. And this is going to print on that under the message section. So now I print my quotes, my sticker. There again, this would be your logo. So it wouldn't say Wallace. You can make this as fancy as you want. This could be a nice watermark. Many people make these stickers look really nice. And we have the ability of putting JPEG or bitmap files in here. So you can make this as attractive as you want. If you have stuff set up, we can stick it on the sticker for you. If you don't have things set up, we have employees here that have the capability of designing whatever you need. This is going to list your sticker. Here's the message that we put in, and here's your total MSRP. Now, you have the ability of printing like a sticker sheet. You also have the ability of printing labels. Now, you can use the large labels, like these things here. And there again, they're these big labels, and some people like those. Or you can use small ones. Okay, so we've added a unit. Let's go in and add another unit. But this time, there again, if let's go in, and what I showed you is how to add a unit. I looked one up and I did a lot of cheating because I was lazy. I didn't feel like typing, which is something a lot of people like to do. So if you're adding a bunch of units like you're probably doing right now, and you're saying, okay, I don't have my inventory in, what you're better off doing is get all your, like say your boats, all your forwards, put them all in at one time. Because that way, once you key in the first one, you can use a lot of that same information. So if you have 3 of them that are exactly the same, all you're really going to be doing is changing the stock number, changing the invoice number, and the invoice date. And all the other things may be exactly the same. But let's start off with a blank screen. And there again, that's an option in the system. You can have it so that every time you type in a new stock number, it will totally clear the screen. Or you can have it so it doesn't. Personally, I think you're better off not doing it because you get the best of all worlds. Let's just use a blank screen, and then we'll do one without. I'm going to leave the stock number blank. I'm going to let the computer do it for me. And I'm going to type in a VIN number. And there again, I'm just going to type in, whatever we want to type in here for my VIN number, letters or numbers, what the year is, what the make. This is that make file. There again, if I know what it is and I just type in Y for Yamaha, I'm going to get Yamaha. Or if I can type in anything, let's just do Yamaha. And let's just do a motorcycle this time. FJ1300. Oh, what's the description? And there again, this is going to print. And there again, what's nice about this is once you put something in, you may want to use the exact same description, so there's less typing. What is it? And it's the same thing. If I know what it is, it's a motorcycle, I type in M. Or, there again, you can just select from the list. Location, we're going to put it in the whether it's new or used. Color. The production date. And there again, you can hit Tab or you can hit the Enter key. Invoice. Now there again, it's important that we have a valid invoice date. If we don't, it's going to complain, what's my cost? Any rebates, holdbacks, this right here. Invoice number obviously is important. my freight, and let's say we're going to sell it for 7,500. And there again, this is also a default. If most of your products are taxable, you should have the default set for taxable, so that that'll automatically be check marked all the time when you get in here, and then the only time you'd have to do anything if it's not taxable. Who you bought it from, not mandatory, but you can key it in if you want. These other fields, maybe it's a 1 year, and your weight, and there again, you can type in what you want or just select it here. Let's just say we got this from a trade, and it's a motorcycle. Okay, now we also have the ability to attach something. Now maybe I want to attach a picture of this. If you need to do that, you can key in. If you know what the file name is, you can type it in. If you don't know what the file name is, just type in anything in that field. If it's not a valid name, when I hit the add button, it's going to look at that. It's going to try to find that file. And that file would be in a JPEG or a bitmap file format, which is typical for pictures. Any picture format will do. If you type something in, it knows that you're trying to attach a picture of it, and it's going to say, okay, let me find that file. If it can't find it, it's going to come up and say, I didn't find it. Do you want to do a search? So let's do that. I'm attaching this picture. I want to attach a picture. I don't know the name of the file. I want to look for it. So I'm going to hit F4. There again, it comes back and says, there is no such image. Okay, I know it. Do you want to select one? Yes, I do. And it's going to go out to the last time you were and say, okay, here's all the pictures you have out there. Which one is it? And it happens to be this one here. So I can select that. Okay to add. Yep. And now it's saying, okay, it added that, attached that picture to this product. It's now saying, okay, it's not a valid stock number, just like before. Do we want the computer to generate one? Yes, I do. It goes to my user-defined template, which says, okay, there might be some other things that you told me you want to keep track of for a motorcycle. If in case they were, you would key those in. And now we're going to the exact same screen like my accessory screen. You would, in this case, hit F9, type in any of the options that you want to add, whether it be a cost associated with it. And all I'm typing in is the description, and I just want to add these options. They're all part of the price, and I'm hitting F4, and that's all I would really do is type in descriptions, hit F4, type in descriptions, hit F4. If, in fact, there is a charge to it, then obviously I would put in $100. I'm going to charge $200. That's an extra $200, and I'm going to hit F4 again. I've added those there. Like I said before, if you need to modify anything, you can click, change it, delete it, do whatever you want to do to it. You're done. It's now saying, okay, this is a trade-in. It's added that because it was a trade, put it in my system. Now it's in my system. If we go over here and click auctions and say, hey, I want to see what that looks like, there's a picture of it that we attached. You can change that picture anytime you want if it's the wrong picture by just typing something in there, hitting change. Anytime it sees something that's invalid, you also can, it'll actually give you a lookup and you can pick whatever picture you want, or if you know the file name, you can type it. The other thing is you can have multiple images and multiple videos, and you can do that by setting up the user define. That screen has one, but over here, if you use when we go over the section on how to set up user defined templates, there again, I don't want to complicate things because you don't need to use this at all, but people that do use it, we have keywords. If you type in image over here when you're setting that up, you can attach as many pictures as you want or as many videos. And we'll be going over that in the section called setting up user defined templates. But keep in mind, you may look at this screen and you may say, that's all I need. I don't need to do anything else. I don't need a user defined template. You may, down the road, you may start off not using a user-defined template, which many customers do. They're happy with just what they see here. With this and the accessory screen, which is right here, they don't need any more. And that may be what your condition. But what's nice to know is that no matter what you do, maybe 6 months from now, maybe a year from now, maybe 2 years from now, if you look and you say, look, I have a system where I don't have to ask somebody to add something to me. I can do it myself. I can go into the system. I can go right into a user-defined template and say, you know what? I decided that from now on I need to keep track of something, and there again we'll be showing you how to do that. So let's go back to the lookup, and there again, if we want to look up, let's look up motorcycles, and there's all my motorcycles. And if we select any of them, there again. So sometimes this is an easy way of adding. And if you're adding inventory, I highly recommend, obviously don't clearing the screen, but add your first unit where you're going to have to type everything in. From that point on, if I need to add another one, all I would have to do is go, okay, everything else is the same. So for example, let's do a lookup on the one I just added. We just added that motorcycle. And here's the one we added. We put it in as 3 days. And maybe I've got 5 more of these that I need to put in. They're almost the same. All I really need to do now, blank out the stock number, let the computer do it for me. I'm going to change the VIN number here because obviously that would be different. So I'd key in, the difference in VIN number. Maybe the year is the same. So if all this stuff is the same, maybe the invoice date is different. So maybe this one here, my invoice date, I'm just going to change it to 01. Maybe the price, everything else is the same. Everything's exactly the same. You know what? I just saved myself a lot of typing. I'm just going to say A for add, generate a stock number for me, hit escape, and now I would add any subtle options that might be different here. There again, I can add those options free format. Down the road, you're probably going to be using this more often. And maybe I want to use this here, and I'm going to use this here, and I just picked those 2 options on here. And now that's in my inventory. So adding inventory is relatively simple. There again, you've got stock number, VIN number, year, it's your basic stuff. We'll be going over the user-defined templates if you want them. We've gone over some of the options here. What we think you should concentrate on is just getting your inventory in the system. That by far is the most important thing. Get your inventory in. Let's see what you got. And that is the key. Okay. That pretty much concludes adding your unit inventory. Now, there again, you should start adding your inventory. If you have any problems, you get stuck anywhere, just give our support department a call. They'll be happy to assist you. Also, there are many options that change, like clearing the screen, setting your tax options. Those things are typically done when you filled out your setup sheet. So if you didn't answer some of those questions correctly when you did your setup sheet, now that you're understanding a little bit more about the system, you may want to change the way you actually set those options initially. Okay. We're going to hit escape to get out of here. And now we'll be going into the next section.